You've been taught to chase what you want when in truth, the chasing is what keeps it away. From the moment you discovered the idea of manifestation, you were handed a formula built on effort. Repeat your affirmations, visualize harder, raise your vibration, and keep grinding until the universe notices. You were told that reality bends to your will if only you perform the steps correctly. And yet, here you are, doing all the right things but wondering why it still hasn't arrived. You feel stuck in a cycle of hoping, doubting, and trying harder, while quietly wondering if you're doing something wrong. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the entire model you were given is backwards? Quantum manifestation isn't about performing the right ritual. It's not about deserving, or earning, or convincing the universe to give you something. It's about becoming the version of you who already lives in the reality you want. No chasing, no forcing, just alignment. You're not standing outside your desired reality, trying to claw your way in. You're already inside the field that contains it. Right now, in this very moment, you are surrounded by infinite possibilities. Not metaphorically, literally. According to quantum theory, everything exists as a wave of potential until it's observed. Every version of your life, abundant, struggling, loved, alone, empowered, lost, they all exist, not as imagination but as probability. And the one that becomes your lived reality, that's the one your energy selects. Most people don't realize they're doing this all the time. You're already manifesting, but unconsciously. The quantum field isn't waiting for the perfect words or the clearest vision board. It's reading you. Not your thoughts alone, but your entire frequency, your emotions, your body language, your nervous system state, your inner narrative. It responds to coherence, not chaos. And here's the part that most teachings leave out. You don't attract what you say you want. You attract what you consistently are. This field is not some distant cosmic force. It's right here, responding in real time. When you shift your frequency, the field responds accordingly. But what does that mean? Practically, it means that your energy, your state of being, is more powerful than your effort. It means that trying to manifest from a state of lack only reinforces the timeline of lack. You can't brute force your way into a reality you're not energetically tuned to. The field doesn't reward struggle. It mirrors clarity. So many people spend their lives trying to get what they want, thinking the universe is withholding it. But the quantum doesn't have a preference. It doesn't withhold. It reflects. If your internal signal is incoherent, wanting one thing while embodying another, the field has nothing clear to respond to. That's why rituals without alignment fall flat. That's why visualizing without embodiment doesn't stick. Because at the quantum level, clarity creates collapse. The version of reality you live in depends entirely on the strength of your signal. And this is where it starts to get real. Because if the field is already coded with every possibility, then it's not about creating from scratch. It's about choosing, not mentally, but energetically. The version of you that already has what you want exists now. You're not trying to become that version. You're learning how to tune into it. You collapse that version into reality not by chasing it, but by aligning with it. There are aspects of this process, deep mechanisms of how the field responds to hidden intention, that I can't fully share here. But I break them down in detail inside Insights Academy, our free newsletter. You'll also get instant access to the Kybalion, a rare hermetic text we've digitized for a limited time. Just enter your email at the link below. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to manifest and start embodying alignment, things begin to move. Not because you forced them to, but because your frequency made the decision real. Most people try to bend the quantum field to their desire, never realizing they're already shaping it with every thought they repeat, every emotion they rehearse, and every state they settle into. You're not waiting on the universe. The field is waiting on your coherence. This is why people stay stuck, not because they lack power, but because they haven't been taught how to use it. They're too busy performing, trying to do manifestation right, obsessing over rituals, scripting, moon phases, and affirmation counts, while ignoring the one thing that matters, their state of being. And here's what they don't tell you. When your state is aligned, it doesn't take long. The shift is instant. The wave collapses in real time. Reality changes not because you earned it, but because you became it. So the question isn't, how do I get what I want? It's, what am I actually signaling right now? And even deeper, who am I being? Here's the hard truth that most manifestation teachings avoid. The universe doesn't care what you want. It listens to what you are. You can write down your goals 1,000 times, repeat your affirmations every morning, create vision boards that sparkle with perfection. But if your nervous system is still locked in fear, if your energy is still vibrating with doubt, the field picks up on that deeper signal, and that's what it mirrors back to you. Not your words, not your wishes, your frequency. This is where the real disconnect begins. People try to manifest abundance while embodying scarcity. They declare wealth while checking their bank account every hour, flooded with anxiety. They script about love but hold tension in their chest, bracing for rejection. They visualize freedom while clenching their jaw, trapped in cycles of control and survival. This isn't judgment. It's simply how energy works. In the language of the quantum, your energy is the message. And if that message is distorted, the field responds in kind. You can't fake coherence. You can't trick the field with words if your body is still broadcasting fear. Think of it like tuning into a radio station. You want to hear jazz, but you're tuned into heavy metal. No matter how much you want jazz, you're going to keep hearing distortion until you change the dial. Your thoughts, emotions, actions, these are the dials. And when they're not aligned, your signal becomes noise. The field doesn't punish you for it. It just reflects it. That's why manifestation feels exhausting for so many people. They're doing everything right on the surface, but underneath, they're battling themselves. They're saying one thing, feeling another, and behaving in ways that contradict both. This internal friction creates a fragmented signal, and in the quantum world, it's not intensity that shapes reality, it's clarity. The more precise your energetic broadcast, the faster the field responds. But when your system is sending mixed messages, the field reflects the static back to you. This is why nothing sticks. You manifest fleeting opportunities that vanish. You get a glimpse of success, then sabotage it. You attract potential partners who feel promising, but the connection dissolves. It's not because the universe is withholding, it's because your signal is inconsistent. One part of you is asking to receive, and another part is bracing to be disappointed. One part is visualizing the dream, and another part is still reliving old stories of failure. The field doesn't choose sides. It responds to the dominant frequency, the one you embody most consistently, even if it's unconscious. And here's where it gets even more subtle. The people who try the hardest often create the most resistance. Why? Because trying implies lack. The more desperately you try to attract something, the more you're broadcasting that you don't already have it. That energetic mismatch becomes a repelling force. You don't manifest what you chase, you manifest what you already feel like you own. It's not about pretending you're rich when you're broke, or faking confidence when you feel fragile. It's about aligning your inner state with the frequency of enoughness, even before the evidence shows up. That's coherence. So how do you know when you're in coherence? It feels quiet. It feels grounded. You're no longer asking, when will it come? Because a deeper part of you already knows. It's inevitable. You're not obsessing over timelines, signs, or synchronicities. You're steady, clear, calm. Not because you've stopped wanting, but because you've stopped needing. This is the shift from survival energy to creator energy. And the moment you enter that frequency, the field begins to bend toward you, not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with it. The work isn't in the doing. The work is in the being. The question isn't, how do I manifest faster? It's, how do I become the version of me who no longer doubts this is mine? If you're struggling to manifest the life you want, It's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you're not aware of who's really doing the manifesting. It's not your conscious mind. It's not your journal entries or your perfectly worded affirmations. It's not the vision board you stare at every morning hoping for a breakthrough. It's your subconscious, the silent architect of your reality. And it's been shaping your world since long before you ever heard the word manifestation. The quantum field doesn't respond to surface-level intention. It responds to the totality of your signal. And the most dominant layer of that signal is the subconscious programming running quietly beneath your awareness. That's what's collapsing the wave. That's what's choosing the timeline. You can want love with all your heart, but if your subconscious still believes you're unworthy of it, the field responds to that belief. You can want freedom, but if your nervous system is wired for survival, you'll keep drawing in situations that reinforce confinement, scarcity, or chaos. Not because the universe is cruel, but because the field is precise. Think of your subconscious like the lens through which the quantum field reads you. It filters your focus, shapes your expectations, colors your emotional reactions. And while your conscious thoughts may be trying to steer the ship, your subconscious is the ocean. You might consciously want to go north, but if the current is pulling south, you'll feel like you're paddling against something invisible. That invisible force is your unconscious identity, formed by years of conditioning, unresolved trauma, inherited beliefs, and emotional memory. This is why traditional manifestation practices often fall flat. They try to rewrite the top layer of your mind without addressing the deeper structures underneath. They tell you to say, "I am abundant," while your body is still bracing for the next financial blow. They ask you to visualize your dream relationship while your inner child still fears abandonment. The subconscious doesn't respond to words, it responds to resonance. And if your inner world is full of contradiction, the field will mirror that fragmentation. This isn't about blaming yourself. This is about becoming aware of how powerful you already are. You've been manifesting all along, you just weren't doing it consciously. Every belief you inherited, every story you've internalized, every emotional loop you replay, they've been speaking to the field on your behalf. And the field, being neutral, simply responds. This is the great responsibility and the great liberation. Because once you see how deep this goes, you can begin to shift it. Changing your reality means changing the signal you're broadcasting. And that begins by working with the subconscious, not against it. You don't need to battle your limiting beliefs. You need to bring awareness to them. You need to understand where they came from, what they protected you from, and how they've shaped your identity. That's when you stop trying to override your programming with positive thinking and start creating true coherence between who you are and who you're becoming. The subconscious is the true observer in the quantum field. It's the part of you that decides what collapses into form. So, if you're serious about stepping into a new timeline, you need to get serious about what your subconscious is still rehearsing. Are you still telling yourself that success means struggle, that love must be earned, that money is dangerous or fleeting? These stories aren't just limiting, they're instructive. They tell the field what's real to you, and the field delivers accordingly. But the beautiful thing is this: your subconscious can be reprogrammed. It's not fixed, it's not permanent. Just like a computer running outdated software, your internal system can be updated, refined, realigned. Through awareness, breath, presence, and repetition, you can start to shift your dominant frequency, not through force, but through gentle, consistent tuning. That's when the observer effect becomes your ally. That's when you stop unconsciously collapsing timelines you never truly wanted, and start stepping into realities that reflect who you're actually here to be. Because when the subconscious shifts, the whole signal changes. And when the signal changes, the field has no choice but to respond. You've been taught to think your way into change. That if you just think the right thoughts, say the right affirmations, or visualize hard enough, your life will shift. But here's what most teachings forget to mention. Your body is the signal. Not your mind, not your words, your body. If your mind is declaring abundance but your chest is tight with fear, the field doesn't respond to your mantra, It responds to your tension. If you're saying, "I am worthy," but your breath is shallow, your posture is collapsed, and your nervous system is firing off survival cues, the field mirrors that incoherence. And not because it's punishing you, but because it can only respond to clarity. Your heart isn't just an organ, it's an electromagnetic powerhouse. Research has shown that the heart's electromagnetic field is over 50 times stronger than the brain's. It radiates out, interacting with the field around you in a constant, silent conversation. When your heart and brain are in coherence, meaning your emotional state and your mental focus are aligned, you emit a signal that's unified, powerful, and precise. That's when the field listens clearly. That's when timelines collapse in your favor, not because you forced them, but because you embodied them. This is why trying to manifest from your mind alone often leads to burnout. It's why the vision board doesn't manifest the dream, why the affirmations don't stick. Because without the body, without the nervous system, without the heart, your signal is fragmented. The mind says one thing, the body says another, and the field doesn't know what to reflect. It doesn't respond to confusion. It reflects certainty. And certainty isn't a thought, it's a state. Coherence is what happens when all layers of you are speaking the same language. When your thoughts, emotions, and body are aligned around a single truth, that's when manifestation accelerates. That's when opportunities show up without being chased. When people say, "Things just started flowing," they're describing a coherent state. The field begins to respond to you like gravity, not because you did more, but because your presence became undeniable. You've already felt this. Think about the moments when things just worked, when synchronicities lined up, when someone called you right as you were thinking of them, when the opportunity you needed just appeared. You weren't forcing anything in those moments. You were present, relaxed, open, and in that openness, your signal was clean. That's not magic. That's coherence. And it's available on demand, but only when you stop trying to control the outcome and start aligning your system from the inside out. Heart-brain coherence isn't something mystical. It's measurable. It's practical. And it changes everything. When you breathe in a regulated rhythmic way, when you feel gratitude or compassion or calm, your heart rate variability shifts into a harmonious rhythm. Your brainwaves synchronize. Your entire body enters a state of integration, and in that moment, the quantum field receives one signal, undistorted, unwavering, whole. That's the real work. Not chasing outcomes, not scripting endlessly, but tuning your instrument, becoming a signal so clear that the field can't help but respond. This is the power most people never access, because they're too busy chasing their desires externally instead of aligning internally. They treat manifestation like performance, when in truth, it's resonance. When your heart leads and your mind supports, the field takes shape. But when your mind tries to override your fear without addressing the body, all you create is more static. And the field mirrors that chaos right back. So if you feel like nothing's working, don't ask what you need to do. Ask what your body is broadcasting. Ask what frequency you're really anchored in. Because your body never lies, and neither does the field. You've been told to think positive, to stay high vibe, to only focus on the good so that you don't attract the bad. And while the intention behind this advice might be pure, the execution is deeply flawed. Because manifestation isn't about pretending. It's not about bypassing what's real inside you to project some artificial state of happiness. The quantum field doesn't respond to your forced smiles. It responds to your frequency. And frequency isn't about fake light. It's about authentic alignment. This obsession with always feeling good creates a pressure that disconnects you from yourself. It teaches you that fear is dangerous, that sadness is a sign you're doing something wrong, that doubt will cancel your desires. And so what do? You suppress it. You push it down. You try to bury your emotions under a mountain of affirmations and gratitude lists, hoping it'll be enough to tip the scales. But here's the truth. What you resist persists. What you avoid, you amplify. Because energy doesn't disappear. It just gets trapped. And trapped energy still broadcasts. When you try to manifest from a place of spiritual performance, you send a mixed signal. On the surface, you're saying all the right things, but underneath, your nervous system is vibrating with tension, your subconscious is looping fear, and your heart is closed off in protection mode. The field picks up on that contradiction, not because it's judging you, but because it's reading you fully, and what it reads is confusion. Emotional fluency, not avoidance, is the real key. The ability to feel your fear without becoming it, to witness your sadness without drowning in it, to honor your anger without letting it take the wheel. This is not weakness, it's mastery. Because when you can sit with your emotions and still choose alignment, you become powerful. You stop leaking energy trying to avoid discomfort, and instead, you start moving through it. That movement is coherence, and coherence is clarity. And clarity is what the quantum field responds to. So no, you don't have to be high vibe all the time to manifest. You have to be honest. You have to be present. You have to be able to regulate, not suppress, your emotional state. That means recognizing when your energy wobbles and gently bringing it back into alignment. It means breathing when the panic rises, soothing when the doubt creeps in, reconnecting when you feel scattered. This isn't about faking it until you make it. It's about feeling it until you free it. There's a reason the field responds so quickly when you're aligned, because at that moment, there's no resistance, no split between what you want and what you believe, no pretending, just coherence. Your being is speaking one language, and the field mirrors it back like a perfectly tuned echo. That's what people mistake for magic. That's what they call miracles. But it's not magic. It's precision. The real block to manifestation isn't negativity. It's a disconnection. When you abandon yourself emotionally in pursuit of an imagined perfection, you fragment your energy. You create inner conflict. And that conflict scrambles the signal. But when you welcome your full range, light and shadow, joy and fear, you become whole again. And wholeness is magnetic. The field isn't asking for your perfection. It's asking for your presence, your truth, your integrity. That's what turns intention into impact. So the next time you catch yourself forcing positivity, pause. Ask yourself, what am I afraid to feel right now? What part of me have I judged as wrong? And then invite that part into the light, not to fix it, but to include it. Because nothing blocks your signal more than self-rejection, and nothing clears it faster than radical self-acceptance. You don't need to fake good vibes. You need to become the version of you that feels safe being fully real. Control feels safe. That's why we cling to it. We micromanage our goals, obsess over timelines, script outcomes, repeat affirmations until our voice goes hoarse, all in the hope that if we just do it right, the universe will finally deliver. But here's the truth almost no one talks about. Control is the very thing disrupting your signal. The more you grip, the more you push, the more you try to force reality into shape, the more resistance you create. And in the quantum field, resistance isn't invisible, it's loud. We've been trained to believe that results are earned through effort, that outcomes must be chased, and that success is the reward for hard work and hustle. But in the quantum, the rules are different. The field doesn't operate through effort. It operates through alignment, through frequency, through resonance, and control distorts all of that. Because control is born from fear. Fear that it won't happen unless you make it happen. Fear that the universe won't show up unless you prove yourself worthy. But the moment you try to manipulate the field through force, you're broadcasting mistrust, and the field mirrors that back. Think about it. What's the energy behind constantly checking your bank account while affirming abundance? It's not trust, it's anxiety. What's the energy behind obsessively scripting about your dream partner while scrolling dating apps in frustration? It's not openness, it's urgency. These subtle forms of control send a frequency of lack, of doubt, of misalignment, and the quantum doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your state. Your state says everything. It's the clearest message you'll ever send. Surrender isn't about giving up. It's not passive. It's not lazy. It's not weak. It's powerful. Because surrender is the energy of trust. When you surrender, you're not saying, "I don't care if it happens." You're saying, "I know it's already on the way, and I don't need to chase it to prove it." That kind of energy collapses timelines faster than any strategy ever could. It's magnetic. It's clean. It's clear. And most importantly, it's honest. Here's the paradox. The less you try to control, the more control you actually have. Not over the external world, but over your own state, your own signal, your own alignment. And from that alignment, reality shifts. Opportunities appear. People respond differently. The right paths open, not because you forced them to, but because you stopped blocking them. So what does surrender look like in real life? It looks like taking action without attachment. It looks like doing your part, and then releasing the outcome. It looks like trusting your timing, even when you feel impatient. It looks like staying grounded when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. This is the kind of inner posture that moves mountains, not because you're pushing them, but because you're no longer standing in their way. Control is a trauma response. It's the mind's way of trying to stay safe in a world that once felt unpredictable. And if you've been gripping tightly, know that it's not your fault. You were taught to survive, not to surrender. But you're not here to survive anymore. You're here to create. And creation doesn't come from fear. It comes from presence, from spaciousness, from trust. Letting go isn't losing. Letting go is choosing. It's choosing to tune your signal to the frequency of inevitability. It's choosing to believe that what you've aligned with already exists, and your only job now is to hold the frequency that allows it to arrive. That's not inaction. That's energetic leadership. That's being the version of you who no longer needs to control, because they've already become. The field doesn't respond to force. It responds to flow. And flow begins the moment you stop chasing and start allowing. If the field responds to your frequency, then your frequency isn't built by what you want. It's shaped by who you believe you are. That's the piece most people miss. You're not manifesting from your desire. You're manifesting from your identity. And your identity is not the image you project or the affirmations you recite. It's the deep, often unconscious sense of self that determines how you move through the world, how you make decisions, how you feel in silence. That's the signal the field is mirroring. That's what's collapsing into form. This is why chasing outcomes rarely works. When you chase, you reinforce the idea that you're separate from the thing you want, that it's out there and you're still not there yet. The field reads that gap and reflects it, not because it's working against you, but because it can only match what you're consistently being. And being is deeper than doing. Being is how you breathe, how you walk, how you respond to life when no one's watching. Being is what your subconscious believes to be true. So the question becomes, who are you being? Not what are you doing to manifest, but who are you being while you do it? Are you being someone who trusts their path, who feels their worth, who moves from clarity? Or are you being someone who's still hoping, still doubting, still waiting for permission to believe? Because the version of you that already has what you want isn't out there somewhere in the future. That version exists now. And the fastest way to collapse that timeline is to start behaving, feeling, and thinking from the place where it's already done. This isn't about faking it. It's not about pretending to be rich or acting like you're in love when you're not. It's about identifying the internal qualities of that version of you and embodying them before the evidence shows up. Not to trick the universe, but to tell the truth of your frequency. If the version of you that lives in abundance feels calm, grounded, generous, practice that now. If the version of you that's deeply loved feels open, soft, expressive, start living that now. Not because you're trying to get somewhere, but because alignment is a state, not a strategy. The shift happens the moment you stop thinking, how do I get there? And start asking, what version of me is already there? And how can I be them now? That one question changes everything, because suddenly, you're not chasing your dreams. You're embodying them. You're not forcing results. You're becoming the kind of person that those results naturally flow to. You're stepping into a new timeline, not with effort, but with embodiment. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't need external proof to begin. You don't need the money in your account to feel abundant. You don't need the partner to feel loved. You don't need the perfect body, house, job, or status to feel whole. You begin now with what you have, where you are. Because you're not manifesting the thing, you're manifesting the state. And when the state is consistent, the form follows. Always. Identity is not fixed. It's a choice repeated over and over again until it becomes who you are. So ask yourself, not from ego, but from clarity, who am I willing to be? Who am I becoming through my choices, my energy, my attention? And does that version of me align with the reality I say I want? Because when your being matches your desire, the field doesn't delay. It reflects. Reality isn't waiting to give you what you want. It's waiting for you to become the version of you who already lives there. That's where quantum manifestation begins, not in trying to attract more, but in choosing to become more, not later, now. Becoming the version of you who already lives your desired reality isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily practice. Because everything in your current world is trying to pull you back into your old timeline. The routines you've built, the emotions you default to, the stories you unconsciously repeat, they all create momentum. And unless you interrupt that momentum deliberately, the signal you send to the field stays stuck in the same loop. That's not failure. That's physics. The field isn't looking for perfection. It's looking for consistency. Alignment isn't about always being high frequency. It's about knowing when you've slipped out of coherence and being willing to come back. That return, that moment of awareness and recalibration, is where your power lives. You don't need to fix yourself. You just need to notice when your energy has drifted and bring it home. This is why embodiment matters. You can't think your way into a new reality. You have to feel it, walk it, breathe it. When you train your body to feel the state of your desired timeline as if it's already here, your nervous system begins to believe it. And once your nervous system believes it, the field does too. Because your body and the field speak the same language. Sensation, vibration, coherence. Start small. Not by changing your entire life overnight, but by changing your state in small, repeated moments. When you wake up, ask yourself, what frequency am I tuning into today? When fear arises, ask, what timeline does this emotion align with? When you're about to make a decision, ask, what would the version of me who already has it choose? These aren't affirmations. They're recalibrations, and they begin to anchor your signal into a new reality. One breath, one choice, one shift at a time. This is where most people stop. They think if the change isn't dramatic, it's not real. But the quantum doesn't respond to drama. It responds to clarity. You don't need a breakdown to manifest a breakthrough. You need integrity. You need to align your inner world with what you say you want, not once, but over and over until it becomes second nature. And the more you do, the more the field reflects it back, not as a test, but as a response. This practice isn't about control, it's about coherence. It's about building a relationship with your own energy so intimate that you know the moment you've left alignment, and you know exactly how to return. That might be through breathwork. It might be through movement, through meditation, through a moment of stillness with your hand on your heart. The method doesn't matter as much as the intention. What matters is that you remember. You are the signal. You are the frequency, and you're training the field with every heartbeat. So stop chasing outcomes. Start anchoring states. Become the embodiment of your timeline before the timeline appears. Because it will. Not through force, but through inevitability. The field can't ignore a clear signal. And when you choose alignment again and again, the life you've been visualizing doesn't just become possible, it becomes familiar, because it's already you. You keep waiting for reality to catch up to your vision. But what if the truth is, reality is just waiting for you to remember who you are? The most powerful shift in quantum manifestation isn't a technique. It's not a meditation, a method, or a mindset. It's an identity shift so deep, so complete, that the old version of you no longer feels like home. The truth is, you are not separate from the field. You are not outside of creation, trying to manipulate it into working for you. You are the field. You are the observer. You are the waveform collapsing into form. And the moment you embody that, everything changes. The illusion is that you need to make it happen, that you need to push and pull and plan and perform. But when you finally remember that your energy doesn't just influence the field, it is the field, you stop asking, when will it arrive, and start living as if it's already here. That shift doesn't happen because of outer results. It happens because you've made the inner decision to stop waiting and start being. And being, in the quantum, is everything. You've been taught to treat manifestation like a goal, something to chase, to earn, to check off a list. But real manifestation is a frequency you live inside. It's not about getting what you want. It's about removing every block, belief, and distortion that tells you it isn't already yours. The field doesn't operate in delay. It operates in alignment. The delay you feel isn't punishment, it's feedback. It's the gap between the timeline you say you want and the one your frequency is actually tuned to. And the moment you collapse that gap, not through effort, but through embodiment, the timeline meets you. And this is where freedom begins. Because once you stop needing evidence to prove your alignment, you become dangerous to limitation. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop waiting for signs to act. You become the version of you that the old version could only dream of, not because anything outside of you changed first, but because you changed, and reality had no choice but to follow. This journey is not about mastering manifestation. It's about remembering your natural state. The field was always responding. You just weren't taught how to listen. You were taught to doubt, to delay, to hustle, to beg. But now you know better, and that knowing can't be undone. So here's your invitation. Stop performing. Stop perfecting. Stop waiting. Start becoming. Become the version of you who already knows, deep in their bones, that what they desire is not a fantasy. It's a frequency. And that frequency isn't out there somewhere. It's here, now, pulsing through your presence, waiting to be chosen, again and again. And if this series has sparked something real in you, if you're ready to embody the deeper truths we don't share publicly, now is the time to join Insights Academy, our free newsletter. You'll get early access to our most advanced work and receive a digital copy of the Kybalion when you sign up. If you're serious about mastering your frequency, don't sit on this. The field moves fast, and so should you. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And what you are isn't a wish, a hope, or a theory. It's a signal, a truth, a presence so aligned that reality reshapes itself in response. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it."